Okay, so Algebra 2, Module 9, Lesson 1, Explain 2, identifying the lowest common denominator of two rational expressions. So given two or more rational expressions, the least common denominator is found by factoring each denominator and then finding the least common multiple of the factors. This technique is useful for the addition and subtraction of expressions with unlike denominators. Okay, so to find the lowest common denominator of a rational expression, factor each denominator completely, write any repeated factors as powers. Okay, list the different factors. If the denominators have common factors, use the highest power of each common factor. So let's see what this looks like. So find the lowest common denominator for each set of rational expressions. So A. So we have our two numbers, and we're trying to basically have two fractions with unlike denominators and trying to create it so they have a common denominator. Factor each denominator completely. So look at it, which are you going to pull out, what are you going to factor out? So we can write this one as 3 times the difference of x and 5. This one over here as 4 times the sum of x and 7. So technically, scoot this up a little bit. All of the factors that we are dealing with are 3 of 4, the difference of x and 5, and the sum of x and 7. So the lowest common denominator is actually going to be all of these pieces multiplied together. So we are basically looking for this. Alright, so let's try on B. It says factor, so come back up. So factor each denominator completely. So go ahead and take a moment and factor both of those. Remember, you're basically looking for factors of 24 that add to equal 11, and they're both going to be negative since we're adding. And factors of 9 that add to equal 6, and they're both going to be negative since, again, we're adding, the signs are going to be the same. So for this one here, hopefully you got that quantity. For this one, hopefully you got that quantity. Okay, so list the different factors. So if you notice, this one technically has the same factors. They're the same factors. So this just wants you to list the different ones. So take the highest power of the difference of x and 3. So that would be down here. And that is what we get. So reflection. When is the lowest common denominator of two rational expressions not equal to the product of their denominator? When a factor appears one or more times in each denominator. And that's kind of what we had going on that one. So your turn. So find the lowest the lowest common denominator for each set of rational expressions. So pause the video, work these out, and then we'll give you a chance to check your answers. Okay, hopefully you've paused the video, you have simplified and followed the steps of A and B, and let's go ahead and check your answers now. And so the lowest common denominator down here, lowest common denominator down there. If you have any questions, please make sure that you ask. Otherwise, up next is Explain 3, adding and subtracting rational expressions. Alright, I hope this helped.